I have to remember whenever I go see a movie that is geared towards a younger audience to rather go super early in the morning or sometime in the evening because, oh man, I felt like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if this happens to be the first time you're checking out one of my videos. For today's video, I'm giving my quick review for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the third of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie trilogy. And this sees the return of Ben Schwartzman as Sonic the Hedgehog, as well as Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, and introduces Keanu Reeves doing the voice of Shadow the Hedgehog, the more edgier, cooler version of Sonic that was all the rage in the late 90s, early 2000s. This is going to be non-spoiler like most quick reviews. It's just being my general thoughts about the movie and just what I thought as a trilogy as a whole. A movie trilogy that up until this point, we've only had a few successful video game movie adaptations. They finally did Sonic the Hedgehog. It was very much a surprise that it even worked. We all remember what the first take on Sonic was going to be.
Meow?
Until the fans uproared, and then we got our version that we have come to know and enjoy for the last two previous iterations of the movie. This movie sees Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles basically living their lives in Green Hills, along with Tom and Amanda, I think is her name. Or Katie, Tom and Maddie. That's her name. Everything gets thrown upside down with the emergence of Shadow the Hedgehog, who is out for revenge, as well as the return of Dr. Robotnik, who was thought to have been destroyed at the end of the second movie, and has to see them all congeal together for one climactic conclusion to the franchise. Or so I thought until the post-credit scene actually happened. The movie does follow very similar beats that we got in Sonic 2 with the introduction of Knuckles. They applied a lot of that to how they handled introducing Shadow into the universe, whereas he starts off as more of an antagonist, and throughout the movie you kind of understand more of his backstory and motivations for why things are being done. While I think Knuckles' motivations in the second movie weren't as strong, meaning that the turn was kind of quicker, this one really does focus on Shadow's his backstory, his origin, how he came to the planet, what his life was like, and his interactions with a character named Maria, who was very important to him. Tragedy strikes, and now he's out for revenge. I mean, when Shadow was created, he was very much, I don't want to say the dark version of Sonic, but kind of is. It's more of the edgier version. But in this one, he is basically another hedgehog who's just very similar in terms of power set, but is also a little bit stronger than Sonic initially. I think they found a way to balance it towards the end of the movie. I like the character of Shadow. I like Keanu Reeves' performance in the movie. I thought he handled it very well. It was very different from what Ben Schwartzman has cultivated when it comes to Sonic throughout the previous two movies. Sonic as a character is very much like pop culture centric, which works with a younger audience because all the kids were laughing it up throughout the movie. For myself personally, after like the 12th or 13th reference, like pop culture reference, I was like, okay, it can be a little bit overwhelming. I do think the visuals of the movie work very well. They've definitely improved on the design of all three of the main characters, especially with Tails and Knuckles being much more involved in the movie together since their introduction from the previous movie. The way they just have Shadow outclass all of them is hilarious. I think the movie overall worked in that aspect, and it was fun and entertaining. I think they also learned a lot from the previous two entries, where most of the other non-super important human characters weren't super involved in this movie. You have your antagonists, of course. You have Robotnik returning for the movie, played by Jim Carrey. If this is the swan song for that character, as the movie might lead you to believe, then I think this has been a fun trilogy for Jim Carrey to kind of sink his teeth into and have fun. And I hope he enjoyed it as much as his performance showed that he enjoyed it. At certain points in this movie, it was a little overload with him, because I think with the reduction of other ancillary characters and kind of focusing on Robotnik and his grandfather, because that's not really a spoiler, that was in the trailer, I think the two of them together felt more amped up than they were in the previous two movies, and I think part of that is because you did cut out a lot of the fat of the ancillary characters, except for Tom and Maddie, who returned for this movie, but also weren't featured as heavily as they were in the first two movies. Which, again, not complaining. I actually kind of preferred that from a personal standpoint. I thought the movie was fun. I thought the action was good. I thought visually it was entertaining to watch. I think some of the pop culture jokes were a little overkill, but I get it because you were doing it for a younger audience. And it could have just been because there was like 2 birthday parties in the theater I was in, and I was just like, oh God.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Besides a little bit of the overabundance of the pop culture references within the movie, which is surprising because some movies handle it a little bit better, I feel like this is a solid third entry into the Sonic the Hedgehog movie trilogy. I thought this was going to be the end. There is a post-credit scene. There's actually 2 post-credit scenes in the movie that lead you to believe that there is more coming. And with the success of the previous 2, and with the likely success of this movie, I would be very surprised if they don't try to shoehorn a 4th one in. I personally would just stop it with 3, but we're in an age where the movie trilogy has not really been a trilogy for a long time. I mean, the last movie trilogy, I would say, was like the last Guardians movie was the 3rd and supposedly the final one. Anyway, besides the point, I did have fun with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I thought all the characters were still fun and entertaining. I thought they learned some lessons from the previous 2 movies and kind of focused more on the core characters and not too much on the ancillary characters, and I think that made the movie flow a little bit better. It was a very short runtime. It was under 2 hours, which I appreciate because of the environment I was in, but I thought it was very cool. I think Shadow's a great character and really fun to watch. I like the relationship with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and I like the last fight at the end between Sonic and Shadow. I thought that lived up to what I would expect them to do when those 2 characters were put together. I would say check out Sonic the Hedgehog 3 if you're interested in it. If you're not really into the character or the franchise and stuff, it might not be the movie for you that will get you into it, but I'd say check it out, form your own opinion, as always. So that is going to do it for this review for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Let me know any thoughts that you have on the movie in the comments down below. Try to keep it spoiler free if you would, please, just so everybody else can, if they haven't seen the movie yet, they can go and enjoy it. That's going to do it for this review. Thank you so much for checking out this and all of my videos. I really do appreciate it. Again, if this happens to have been the first time you checked out one of my videos, hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. I've got a bunch of videos on here that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks from work, so I am going to be trying to get a bunch of stuff out and do some live streams. So definitely subscribe to the channel so you stay notified when those things happen. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You can follow me in most places at DGeekWill. You can click on any of the videos that YouTube is suggesting over here if they've popped up at this point, or I'm just pointing at air. But regardless, subscribe, like, share it all, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.